Tell me a little bit about your 2020. What has your year been like so far? I mean, how has it been going?
It's, all things considered, it's been okay. It's been obviously very strange and we've all had to adapt in our own ways, but it's um, you know, I try to be grateful that I still have a roof over my head and food on a table and I'm able to still make music amidst all of this. I feel like so many people lost their jobs or, things like that. So I'm trying to still be extremely grateful that that we both get to continue doing what, we love to do. And so I try to count my blessings, but it's obviously been very strange and just a weird year overall.
Yeah, I think the story of really how you arrived at where you are is such a cool one. You're just making music, you're singing and putting your videos up on YouTube, and suddenly, out of nowhere, Justin Bieber finds you and tweets you, and suddenly, uh, you had this national spotlight. What did that feel like? How was that for you as a 13-year-old? You just making music at home or whatever, just like suddenly getting all this attention.
It was really strange. I mean, I think that at the time wasn't able to fully grasp like what was going on or the effects it was going to have on me throughout my life. But it was obviously really exciting and it was a whirlwind. And having, being 13, having your idol give you any kind of recognition or affirmation that he thinks that you're good is obviously insane and very exciting. But I don't think that I was like fully grasping the entire like situation or what was going to come in the years to come. I kind of was more just in the moment like this is so cool and exciting, and it is. But I definitely didn't think it would ever, like, almost 9 years later, have me here. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean, you're 13. You have a lack of life experience at that point, so you really probably weren't able to process it. But here you are, building a career, building a life. You and your mother, and was it your brother as well? You guys all moved out to LA from New York to sort of just explore what was happening with your music career, right?
Yeah, exactly. We just yeah, when I was like 13, 14, we were like, let's just go to LA and like do this for real because I'm being given an opportunity that's real as real gets. And I definitely didn't want to take it for granted or overlook it. And it was a huge honor to have somebody as like amazing as Justin give me recognition. So yeah, we just moved out and it's been history ever since.
But you've really, really amped it up. Like in 2020, you've been focusing a lot on the music. You've been really amassing a ton of followers on Instagram, and I've been watching your Insta game. It's amazing. It's on point. Everybody loves everything you do. You post a picture of yourself in a sweater, and people go bananas. It's incredible. What do you think? What is the secret to the Madison beer sauce, so to speak? I mean, you're really curating this amazing brand. Do you
Mm.
think about everything that you do? Is it like what goes on behind the
Yeah.
scenes?
Well, thank you. I'll say first, I appreciate the hype, but I don't know. I mean, there's not really, a secret sauce or like a mojo kind of thing going on. It's kind of more just like I try to post what I think is authentic to me, and if people like it, amazing. If they don't, I don't really mind because I do. So it's kind of just that like mentality where I used to feel like I was fitting myself into a mold all the time, and it was like, I only posted what I thought would get a lot of likes or what I thought would be engaged with well, and now it's just kind of like I don't really care, and there's more to life than likes and followers and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of just try to do what I think is authentic, and somehow that's landed me more followers and more likes and whatever. So I think it just kind of shows that like once you start being authentic, people can they tend to gravitate towards you more because it's just like you're a real person, I guess, as weird as that sounds.
I'm so glad that you said that, Madison, because a lot of us get in this age of social media, we get in that sort of hamster wheel trap of what are my friends? What am I following? What do they want to see from me? What are they going to like? What are they going to respond to? Oh no, this didn't get enough likes. I got to delete it. And sort of you try to live your life and curate the content that you put out there based on other people's affirmations instead of just being genuinely you. And when
Yeah.
someone comes along that is genuinely themselves, that can connect with people and relate in a way that you're like, oh, that person's real.
Yeah,
Suddenly
and it's
refreshing,
really
right?
hard. Yeah, it's hard because, it's all about perception. Yeah, like we're all being perceived simultaneously while we're trying to figure ourselves out. And like it's just this weird like audience, consumer, idol, fan blend that we all are. And it's just very strange. I think that we're like a generation of people who wanted to perform, and we were all kind of raised like, you know, with fame being something that was spoken about and celebrities. And we all were like, you know, kids who I guess were born in the 90s predominantly. Like, I feel like we're very much so influenced by like fame and pop culture. And so like I find that within the later years and within like the from literally like the mid 90s to now, I feel like kids have this weird ideology of like fame in their heads, and it's like, oh, I want to be famous. And I'm like, but what do you want to be famous for? Like, to me, fame is it's the punishment for wanting to pursue music and wanting to, you know, be someone who connects with people and is someone who you know, it touches people in any type of way. To me, it's like that's the downside is the fame, and that's the part that's a headache, and the part that's just like, oh my god, I don't need these people all asking me who I'm dating and what I'm doing and da da da. And I just, you know, so I think that there's this weird false narrative of like what people think fame is, and it's really not what it's shaped up to be. And so I think that yeah, like you said, people should have to start being authentic, because like we're all being perceived, we're all perceiving one another, and we all have these ideas of like, oh, well, this person's Instagram looks like this much must be exactly how they are, when in reality we're all curating what we want to be shared at all times 24/7. And I can create any version of myself that I want to be put on social media. And if I wanted to pretend like I was, you know, this whatever it might be, anything, I could do it in a heartbeat. I can completely change the narrative and the idea of, you know, who Madison Beer is. I could make it whatever I want. So I think that once you like deconstruct that and you start being like, cool, I'm not going to I'm not going to judge somebody completely based off their social media, and B, if I am, I at least need to know that I'm taking everything with a grain of salt, and I'm like, okay, this person is only giving me the 1%. They're only giving me what they want me to see. They're not showing me the ugly. They're not showing me the dark days. They're only showing me the good. And that's kind of when we get into a cycle in humanity. I find that we all are like competing, and it's like, but no one's actually happy at the end of the day. And we're all just like stuck at home, bored, trying to pretend like we're all like having this great time. And so, yeah, there's just so many layers to it that I feel like I'm really passionate about, because I find a lot with like the fact that I do have a lot of followers that people are either constantly comparing themselves to me, or that they're, you know, they think I have like a perfect life or whatever. And so I try to, whenever I can, just explain that it's all bullshit at the end of the day. Sorry, I don't know if we can cuss on the radio, but it's all BS at the end of the day. And yeah, I just hope that people eventually within the next 10 years, I hope social media kind of like the smoke and mirrors start fading, and people realize that we're all just people who are confused. And that's rant over.
I love your passion, and you really are, you know, the kind of person that comes across to me being way more mature than your age really speaks to. Just with the insight that you have about what social media says, and how people should conduct themselves with it, and your insight into fame. It was blowing my mind. But I got to say, you know, the other things that I'm really impressed with you about is your advocacy about mental health issues, and the things that you've talked about with that, and put out there. I see on, you know, you've got a little section on your Instagram about it. Talk
Yeah.
to me a little bit about why that's such an important cause for you to, you know, to publicly talk about mental health, and why you want to put it out there. I know you just sort of alluded to it, you know, when people compare themselves to you, and they have your self-esteem issues based on celebrities that they idolize, or other people that they're jealous of, that can compound, you know, feelings of self-worth.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think that yeah, it's kind of, I feel like stemmed from all of that. I think getting, you know, fame and popularity by the time I was 12, 13 was a little bit of a double-edged sword. And I think that, you know, part of it was like amazing, and I'm so abundantly grateful for having a platform and having, you know, followers and people who loved my music and who looked up to me. But at the same time, I was scrutinized incredibly from 12 years old. I don't think a day's gone by that someone hasn't told me to kill myself. And so it's been like, you know, something that I've had to kind of accept and deal with. And there's days that it's like, you know, imagine having a terrible day in real life where you fight with your boyfriend, or you're fighting with your parents, or you just have a crappy day overall. And then you go to the place that most people go to escape, which is the internet. And that's, you know, YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or whatever it might be. And you're flooded with a million people who hate you and who are saying horrendous things about you. And literally telling you to go die. So it was kind of this tough thing where when I started really getting affected by everything, I was dealing with a lot of trauma in my life that I hadn't faced full on, and I was burying it all down. And I would go on social media, and then I would see a bunch of really hateful things said about myself, and it would literally destroy me, and I would just feel like extremely worthless. And it was just a really dark time for me. This was about a year ago, and so I started, going through therapy and dealing with a lot of the stuff that I hadn't dealt with before, and I came out a lot stronger. And I still have my really terrible days, but like it helped me tremendously. But yeah, I started to talk about it more openly this year because I think that especially with the pandemic, it could obviously, like, I feel like everyone has seasonal depression somewhat to begin with. And I think this whole year has been like seasonal depression. So I think it was important for me. I celebrated a year clean of self-harm. And to me, that was the kind of like when I was like, okay, this is the moment that I'm going to share. And this is when I'm going to start talking about this openly. And, the part that really shocked me was how many people were just like, I had no idea that you were struggling. And I was like, but that's exactly why I'm telling you now. So you can don't stop assuming everyone's fine because they want you to think that they're fine. It's very easy to come across happy, especially when you're posting photos where you're smiling and you're doing video. Like, it's easy. It's so easy to mask a depressed, miserable person as a happy. So like it's just so easy, and people overlook that. And I think that that's the reason that a lot of bullying continues to go on, a lot of hate online, is because they assume, oh, Madison Beer, she must be, she's whatever, all the positive things they think that I have going on in my life. They look at all that and they're like, there's no way this girl has depression. There's no way this girl has anxiety that's crippling every single day. Like, they just assume that it's not possible. So I'm just trying to, again, like, deconstruct that idea that's social media is not, it's just not what you think that it is. And mental health is just a really important topic to me, for not only myself, but I think that there's also just like so much stigma around it, and you don't get the same looks as you do when you say I'm going to my therapist appointment as when you're going to get your nails done. And to me, they're both self-care, and so there's no difference. And I'm hopeful for a world and society one day that's more accepting of talking about it and having a mental disorder or a personality disorder or something. And I think if we took it as seriously as, if I called in sick from work and said, hey, I have the flu, I can't come in today, or like, hey, I'm having literal bed riddling depression and anxiety, and I have to take care of myself today, I can't come into work, I think that we would maybe have like a utopian society. So yeah, I'm just hopeful for a brighter future and people to start caring about others a bit more.
I think you're so brave to take on this subject head on and to be open about what you've been dealing with, because a lot of people can relate, especially with the the fact that social media is so pervasive. This pandemic has been so pervasive. It's brought a lot of us down, and a lot of us are now facing these things and dealing with these things out in the open. And to have somebody like you who's in the spotlight, who has a platform like you do, to be addressing it, to be saying, hey, you know what? We're all people. We're all on the same level. And just because the spotlight's on me doesn't mean my life is all roses and glitz and glamour. Is incredible. And
Thank you.
I'm sure it means a lot to a lot of people. So thank you for what you're doing. And let's talk about the exciting year that is going to be 2021 for Madison Beer, right? Because we've got you on this in the show right now to talk about the fact that we've got our eyes on you. We are so excited for what's about to happen for you. We think you're poised to blow up. Our prediction is 2021 is going to be the biggest year for you in your career. What's going on for you career-wise and personally in 2021 that you want to talk about, that you're excited about? What are your predictions? Lay it on us, Madison.
Absolutely. I appreciate everything you just said. Thank you. And I have my debut album coming out on February 26th, 2021. I'm very excited. It was supposed to come out top of this year, which is crazy to think that it's been literally a year since I was supposed to release it, but it's coming out finally. And then
It's called Life Support, right?
It's called Life Support. Yep, I got it tattooed on the back of my neck. But yeah,
Awesome.
it's called Life Support, and I've released, I think now four singles from Life Support, and people are really receiving it well, and it means so much to me, and I just can't wait to get it all out, because it's a period piece. My album, it's really like a stamp in the time that I was referring to to before, where, you know, I was going through a really tough time. I was going through a breakup. It was just a tough time for me. And I wrote this album amidst that time, and it really did get me through it, which is why I called it life support. And yeah, I'm just super pumped to get it out. So that comes out on February 26th. And then I already have started my second album, considering we finished life support over a year ago. So we are already like halfway through the second album, and we have 2 weeks in January set aside to finish it. So that'll probably come out hopefully by the summer of 2021. So I'm hoping to drop 2 albums in the next year, and I'm really looking forward to it, and hoping to tour if we're ever able to again. And yeah, I'm just excited to get this music out, mainly because I think that we're in a time where music is getting a lot of people through a lot of things, and I'm just really, really pumped, and I'm very appreciative of everyone who's, you know, told me that my music has helped them through these weird times.
Well, let's talk about this. You've got that new single. It's called Boy, right?
Yes, it is.
And that's from the album that's about to drop in February, and that's made it to our countdown. And so, talk a little bit about the inspiration behind the song, what the title means, what you were going through when you wrote it. I'm going to have you introduce it on the countdown, and so I want a little background on it. Hook us up with that.
Yeah, so I wrote it with this amazing girl named Taylor. Her artist name is Upsall. She's incredible. And I kind of sourced her out on social media that I loved her music. And I was like, yo, I need to work with you. And so we wrote Boyshit together. And it's obviously a play on Bullshit. And yeah, it was just this like a fun kind of idea that we had that was just like, first of all, I think that's something I put out a statement when I released this song that was kind of just like, anyone can be like, I don't speak boy shit. You don't have to be a girl to say I don't speak boy shit. You can be a boy and not want to put up with boy shit. And it's kind of just this like attitude, in my opinion. It's a gender neutral thing of like, I don't want to deal with nonsense, and I know what I deserve. And it's this overarching like messaging of, you know, self-worth, and like being able to be kind of like this boss bitch that I hope my fans, when they listen to this, feel like. And yeah, it's kind of just this like attitude thing more than anything. And I don't speak boy is just basically saying, in my opinion, like, you know, I know what I deserve, and I won't put up with anything less than that.